Right. President Bola Tinubu writes National Assembly to increase 2024 budget by 6.2 trillion naira. President Bola Tinubu distribute checks to beneficiaries of Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu reiterates openness of Lagos for investment opportunities for national economic growth. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden renews call for Congress to ban assault rifles. We'll bring you details in a moment. Please stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. I am Bukola Taylor Cole. President Bola Tinubu has requested the Senate to amend the 2024 Appropriation Act and the 2023 Finance Act by increasing the budget by 6.2 trillion naira. President Tinubu's request is contained in a letter addressed to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and read at plenary. The president in the letter said the move was pursuant to Section 58, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. He added that the proposed amendments to the Finance Act were required to impose a one-time windfall tax on the foreign exchange gains realized by banks in their 2023 financial statements. President Tinubu explained that this was to fund capital infrastructure, education, healthcare, and public welfare initiatives. According to the president, all of the projects are essential components of the renewed hope agenda of his administration. Meanwhile, a bill seeking to amend the Appropriation Act 2024 to provide for the issuance of 6.2 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation passed second reading on the floor of the House of Representatives. The bill presented by House Leader Julius Ihonvbere allocates 3.2 trillion naira for capital expenditure and 3 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure. Recall that on May 29, President Bola Tinubu pledged his readiness to transmit a supplementary budget to the National Assembly for consideration and passage. On June 26, the president wrote the parliament seeking the extension of the implementation timeline of the capital component of the 2023 Appropriation Act and the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act, and both prayers were granted. Now, President Bola Tinubu has made real one of his major electioneering campaign promises as he disbursed checks to beneficiaries of the student loan. President Tinubu at the ceremony reaffirmed his beliefs in the capacity of education as a sustainable tool for overall development of an individual and the nation. He said with the successful commencement of the initiative, which he described as a game changer in the nation's educational sector, it behoves all Nigerian students to explore the opportunities provided and change their lives. Addressing State House correspondents, the MD CEO of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, said the fund is open to only higher institutions owned by the federal government.
For these loans, they have the opportunity to apply for two types of loans. One is the loan that pays their educational fees. If that is approved, the funds are sent directly to the institution. What you witnessed today was institutions collecting checks for the multiple people who applied for the loan. So one institution taking a check might be taking the check today for 40, 50, 60, 100, 1,000, 2,000 people. So that's what the institutional check represented or represents. So it's a check that covers the multiplicity of students that actually applied and got the loan to go to that institution. What you witnessed when you saw the students going up to collect the check was the second half or the second part of the loan, which is an upkeep loan. So you apply for the institutional loan, your fees are paid, or you get approval for the fees being paid. You can then apply for a monthly stipend or for a stipend that covers your time there. That goes directly to the student if they are successful. So what you witnessed was that stipend being given as a check to the individual students.
Statistics from NELFund show that 164,000 students have registered on the fund's portal. 110,000 applications already considered, and the amount in NELFund's purse as at present stands at 32 billion naira. The University of Lagos, Akoka, has joined a League of Lagos-based universities to sign an educational partnership cooperation agreement with the United States through the Presidential Advisory Committee. The agreement, which aims to foster partnership between the U.S. and Nigerian institutions of higher education, will also promote exchange programs, academic excellence, and capacity building.
The issue of transiting into the work environment is one that the University of Lagos had taken up. We had taken it up years ago. It's just that it takes time for you to see it. We have innovation hubs. We started what you call the entrepreneurship incubation program, which actually teaches students design thinking skills right from year one. Now, what that does is it changes their mindset. But more importantly, we started engaging at that time, final year. So what we did now was start from year one, so that you're already being prepared.
We value strategic partnerships because we are very insistent on innovation, experiential learning for our students, and collaboration is something that's very important to us, and it's going to help us to drive this message across our campus and across the state as well, considering the sister institutions that we'll be working with.
We can co-create. We're not coming with a blueprint that says this is the way it must be done. I think we want to work together to develop a partnership that enhances our students, our faculty, in ways that is beneficial, mutually beneficial. So we'll be developing the specifics as we go along, but signing this partnership is a long way to building the trust that it takes to have these partnerships have true meaning.
The partnership will also drive growth and development in STEM education and promote narratives about Nigeria and its education system. Moving on, the federal government says it is ready to maximize the utilization of the abundant natural resources deposited in the country for the progress of the nation. President Bola Tinubu declared this at the opening of a two-day African Natural Resources and Energy Investment Summit held at the Conference Center of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. President Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, expressed Nigeria's intention to make the country a pace-setter in the development of metals in Africa. The president said his administration will continue to provide an enabling environment for business to thrive, especially in the solid minerals sector.
Natural resources for economic development advocates for leveraging Africa's natural wealth to foster inclusive economic growth. It emphasizes that a shift towards sustainable energy sources does not compromise economic growth, social stability, or job creation. This approach can bolster our economies and offer livelihoods to our burgeoning population. The deliberations during these days will culminate in findings that can shape policies and regulations that can attract investment, ignite entrepreneurship, and channel the creativity of local businesses. We intend to elevate Nigeria's critical mineral resources wealth from potential to reality, creating a prosperous, resilient, and environmentally conscious future. As we gather here today, we are fully aware of Africa's challenges in the realm of power. Millions of our fellow citizens live without access to electricity, and this energy divide perpetuates poverty and inequality and limits our economic potentials. But within these challenges lies the opportunity for transformation. The present administration is unwavering in its commitment to harnessing the power of natural resources to provide clean, accessible, and reliable energy for Nigerians.
Over the years, Nigeria has attracted more than $2 billion investment in the renewable energy sector, making it the fastest growing sector in the economy. Stakeholders expressed hope that the council will maintain this trajectory and attract more private sector involvement in the renewable energy space. Now, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has once again reaffirmed that Lagos is open and ready for more local and foreign investors to help scale up the nation's economic growth. The governor made this known when the executive secretary of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Aisha Rimi, paid him a courtesy call in Lagos. Adetola Kayode has the report.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu welcomed the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPSI, Aisha Rimi, and her team to Lagos House Marina, giving a breakdown of the activities and lineup of her agency, including the promotion of investment opportunities in the country. Rimi noted the vital roles Lagos play in Nigeria's investment drive, having the highest demographic dividends that must be tapped into. The NIPSI boss says the team has been moving around the country, starting with the Northwest region and now the Southwest, shopping for investment opportunities and collaborations among states. They also help investors outside the country to know where to look when seeking opportunities.
Investment travels, and it travels very quickly. We've seen what you've done with the railway, and we know that it has gone into neighboring states and they're able to peel off all of that. So it's how we can promote ultimately what we call RIBS, which is responsible, inclusive, balanced, and sustainable investments across not just states but regions as well. And so it's very important that we have a healthy and collaborative working relationship, and thankfully we do. So the purpose of our visit here ultimately is to reinforce that, to reaffirm our support, and to say that we will continue to partner with Lagos State.
Being the nation's jewel that comes with opportunities and challenges, Governor Sanwo-Olu says Lagos is working via all sectors to help realize Mr. President's vision of doubling the nation's gross domestic product in 5 to 6 years.
The country still has a lot of potential. It has a lot of potentials on the market side, in the demography side, in the intellectual, and human capital capacity side. I usually say to anywhere we go to that, bring anything, into our country, you can be rest assured that you have right skills that can pick it up and deal with it.
The governor, however, says the state is still open to more local and foreign investors as it is working tooth and nail to create and maintain an investment-friendly environment.
We also, as citizens, have to also, make conscious investment into our environment as well, because people will also not just come and help you. Our investors, our citizens also must be able to take further risk in our own environment and know that there's no better place than home. So make those investments. Governor
Sanwo-Olu presented iconic gifts to the NIPSI boss, Aisha Rimi, demonstrating the investment-friendly nature of the Center of Excellence. Adetola Kayode, OTV News.
Has removed Senator Ali Ndume as a chief whip and replaced him with Senator Tahir Manguno. In a voice vote, the upper chamber took the unanimous resolution to effect the replacement after a letter of complaint against the utterances of Senator Ndume by the All Progressives Congress APC National Headquarters was read by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. The request was put to voice votes by the Senate presidents and loudly affirmed by all the APC senators. Recall that Senator Ndume has been making critical remarks about President Bola Tinubu's economic policies. Ndume was not only stripped of his position as chief whip, but the committee he co-chaired as vice chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriations. He has been moved to chair the Senate Committee on Tourism. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has reinstated Philip Shaibu as the Deputy Governor of Edo State months after he was impeached by the State Assembly. In his judgment, Justice Omotosho said the impeachment by the Edo State House of Assembly was illegal and unconstitutional. The judge held that the impeachment was in gross violation of the Constitution. Aside from restoring Shaibu, the court also ordered that his salaries and allowances should be paid from April when he was impeached as the deputy governor of the state. Meanwhile, the Edo State House of Assembly has appealed the judgment of the High Court and has filed a motion for a stay of execution pending appeal. Recall that the lawmakers, after investigation, said they found Shaibu guilty of disclosure of government secrets. In the same vein, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has dismissed a suit by the impeached Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, and others seeking to void Asue Ighodalo's nomination as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the forthcoming governorship election in Edo State. In the judgment, Justice Omotosho held that the suit, which challenged Ighodalo's qualification because he allegedly forged his voter's card, was statute barred. Justice Omotosho held that the suit, being a pre-election case, was filed outside the 14 days allowed under Section 285, subsection 9 of the Constitution. The judge also held that though forgery or non-possession of a voter's card was a disqualifying factor under Section 182 of the Constitution, the plaintiff failed to prove that Ighodalo forged his voter's card as alleged by the plaintiffs. Now, the judge dismissed the case for lacking in merit. The court also held that Shaibu lacked the right to challenge the primary that produced Ighodalo, having not participated in the exercise. Now, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has approved the appointment of 6 eminent persons to serve in the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, LASIEC. The appointees are Justice Bola Okikiolu Igele, Samson Ajibade, Oluwodurojaye, Metilu Olushola, Dapo Aileru, and Oladele Adekoye. Details of the swearing-in ceremony will be announced in due course. Still ahead, National Council on Nutrition approves new measures to combat malnutrition and food insecurity in Nigeria. That's in the moment. Stay with us.
Do you know that as a viewer, you have the right to complain about head marketing? 08022829898 or any of our social media handles. Lagos Television, the voice of Lagos.
Welcome back. The National Council on Nutrition, NCN, has approved new measures to combat malnutrition and food insecurity in Nigeria. This is in line with the present administration's efforts to improve the nutritional status of all Nigerians. Speaking during a meeting of the NCN held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, the chairman of NCN, Vice President Kashim Shettima, called for active and proactive participation from all involved, including ministries, departments, agencies, development partners, and other stakeholders. Among the approved measures is the establishment of a national nutrition dashboard to be hosted by the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, and which will also be uploaded on the website of the NCN. Now, this tool aims to provide better oversight and coordination of nutrition-related initiatives across the country.
extent and the other. And Nigeria is no different. And of course, it varies across the different states. And so this was a meeting whereby the Ministry of Health laid out the initiatives for tackling nutrition, the nutrition crisis, we all call it. And that, of course, involves working with expectant mothers and, of course, the children, particularly for the first 1,000 days of their lives, which is the time at which, without the correct nutrition, without the proper diet, they lose 50% of their productivity later in life. So, of course, that is everybody's priority. So there were well laid out strategies that are going to be carefully tracked for implementation.
Minister of Budget and Economic Planning Abubakar Atiku Bagudu emphasized the administration's commitment to prioritizing nutrition as a crucial component of national development. The meeting, which received updates on Nigeria's current nutritional status, also focused on proposing actionable recommendations and exploring ways to enhance the implementation of existing nutrition intervention programs in line with national policy. The Lagos State government has debunked a viral fake news on social media, stating emphatically that the state has not reintroduced the monthly environmental sanitation and is not starting any movement restriction by July ending. In a statement signed by the State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, he urged all residents to disregard the content of the viral fake news and go about their lawful business activities, adding that there will be no restriction of movement on the last Saturday of July, as erroneously included in the fake news. Wahab explained that what Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced during a sensitization exercise at Campus Playground, Lagos Island, was that the state will start a weekly community-based sensitization and awareness exercise that will involve all residents. Tokunbo Wahab added that no time did Mr. Governor make a pronouncement that the monthly exercise and restriction will start in July or any other month for now. The Commissioner urged all residents to imbibe the culture of cleaning their surroundings always and not wait until the government declares a particular month for commencement of sanitation or restriction of movement. The fourth estate of the realm has been taxed on projecting the rich human capital resources and positive contributions of deserving men and women of African descent, incorporating media into the Africa Legends of Arts, Management, Politics, Science, Sports and Security Awards, which honors heroes from all spheres of development, wants journalists to be at the center of the award process. We have details in this report.
The inaugural press conference held in Lagos to formally announce the birth of African Legends of Art, Management, Politics, Science, Sports and Security Awards had in attendance top media executives under the auspices of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, led by its president, Eze Anambra. The event is designed to identify, honor, and celebrate Africans' brightest stars in key areas of human endeavors, inspired commitment to innovation, knowledge acquisition, enterprise, and purposeful leadership, while highlighting the core African values of honesty. As a platform, African Lambs will recognize contributions to the global history of civilization and development in critical areas such as science, politics, sports, security, management, entertainment, tourism, and technology, which has not been properly projected. President African Lamps Awards Shina Phillips stressed that the experience with organizing the highly successful Nigeria Pitch Awards has shown that a credible platform can indeed motivate and inspire winners to higher levels of commitment and professionalism.
The media play a major role in human development. Aside reportage, we see that there's a huge place of partnership with the media, and that with this particular award, we are partnering with the Guild of Editors, and in all the categories, you see that the media has a major role to play. We're not just partnering with the Guild of Editors in Nigeria, we're equally doing that with the other 53 countries in the continent.
This is a homegrown award, which I thought we should support and grow as our own export to the world. If he's going to rate leaders in Africa, technocrats in Africa, sportsmen in Africa, it's a Nigerian developed award for the continent. I think it's worth supporting.
The African Lambs Awards will honor winners in 14 different categories, representing strategic spread of core areas of human knowledge, innovation, enterprise, and civilization. 9 of these categories are for individuals, 4 for institutions, and 1 for a global leader who has, through his or her country's foreign policy, shown exceptional commitment to the development of the continent.
Now, people living with disabilities and caregivers in Lagos State have commended Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's initiatives to create a sustainable environment for them to thrive and live a meaningful life. They were speaking at the Talent Hunt and Educative Program by the Office of Disability Affairs to showcase and promote their creativity. Olajumoke Oyewumi has the report.
With focus on talent discovery, educational support, skill acquisition, mentorship, singing, drawing, and others, this program, the 4th edition in its series, is part of interventions by the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, LASODA, to encourage people living with disabilities to live healthy lives while contributing to the society.
These events raise awareness about accessibility needs, facilitate social integration, ultimately contributing to economic independence and breaking down stereotypes in our society. Our aim is to provide an avenue where people with disabilities in the state can showcase their creativity and prove to first themselves, their caregivers, and the world that beyond disability lies ability where opportunities are given.
The event, which is also part of policy of inclusion by the Lagos State government, at the LASODA boss and stakeholders, emphasized on the mandate of the office, need for support and enlightenment on key entrepreneurship skills.
Towards the realization of its objective, LASODA has focused on actively engaging with various ministries, departments, and agencies, and other private organizations to empower people with disabilities through skills development, financial assistance, medical support, advocacy, and other impactful initiatives.
Ability and disability. And looking at that very phrase, there is need for the world to know that disability is a source of what? Competitive advantage to the world. The ideas, the initiatives, the innovations that they exhibited in producing those products in arts and crafts. Those products, anywhere, anytime, are the best.
We want the Nigerian support also for we the visually impaired, maybe in aspect of job and any other thing, and supporting of business also.
After the keenly contested competition, awards and prizes were presented to winners in various categories. Olajumoke Oyewumi, LTV News.
Traditional rulers have been advised to drive positive change in their communities. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented by his Chief of Staff Tayo Ayinde, gave the advice at a 2-day retreat for traditional rulers in Lagos. Olumide Ojo has the report.
For traditional rulers, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented by the Chief of Staff, Mr. Tayo Ayinde, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa, represented by Honorable Ganiu Babatunde Okonlawon, and the Commissioner for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Rural Development, Kayode Roberts, on one hand, and traditional rulers from across Lagos State were at the Jubilee Charlie Ekpe for a 2-day retreat. Dr. Tayo Ayinde, on behalf of the governor, in his address, urged traditional rulers to remain mediators, peacemakers, and bridge builders between the government and the people.
Traditional rulers, as representatives of our people, liaise between the people and government, which has helped in fostering socio-economic growth through the conflict resolution, proper dissemination of information, and preserving community stability. In recognition of the important roles that traditional rulers play, our administration has continued to give due recognition and priority to our obas, as well as providing necessary welfare support and assistance.
Speaker Lagos State House of Assembly, represented by Honorable Ganiu Babatunde Okonlawon, informed the gathering of royal fathers that the House takes the traditional institutions, the culture and tradition of the Yorubas serious and is working on enhancing it.
We've dusted the law books. We've seen that some part of it are archaic. They are outdated. And we are doing everything possible to ensure that we review it to meet realities of time. We talk about our welfare, the welfare of Obas. We must look at it critically, and the roles of Obas in governance. On our part, as the legislators, we will do our best to continue to enhance the status of Oba.
Commissioner for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Rural Development, Kayode Roberts, and speakers at the event spoke extensively on the roles of royal fathers in conflict resolution, crisis management, and as catalysts for peaceful coexistence across the communities in the states.
The objectives of this retreat, therefore, among others, the following: for traditional rulers to further appreciate their role as catalysts for peaceful coexistence, to deepen crisis management and conflict resolution techniques in our traditional rulers, to reiterate the role of traditional rulers as avenue for information dissemination on government policies to their subjects, and also for traditional rulers to further understand their role as mobilizers of their subjects towards development of state programs.
The two-day retreat with the theme Traditional Rulers Anchor in Times of Societal Crisis was interactive, with the executive and judicial arms of government interfacing with traditional rulers from across the states. Olumide Ojo, LT.
Coming up, International Monetary Fund cuts Nigeria's economic growth forecast to 3.1%. That's in business news. Stay with us.
The federal government has asked the newly reconstituted board of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative to come up with policies, data, and recommendations to drive reforms in the extractive sector in line with President Bola Tinubu's agenda on economic diversification and growth. Secretary to the Government of the Federation and substantive chairman of the board, George Akume, said this on day 2 at the ongoing 5-day retreat of the NATI board holding in Lagos. With a theme from reports to results, build on impact, the SGF pointed out the importance of the board to play a leading role in supporting Nigeria to navigate through challenges in the oil and gas and mining sector, especially oil theft and illegal bunkering.
It's also the duty of this board to help Nigeria identify solutions to the grave challenges that oil theft, illegal bunkering have both imposed on our economy and the consequences to our environment.
The key area we're looking at is on resource to impact. How can we, under this circumstance, divide policy guidelines and strategies to guide the government to look inwards to provide a coordinated national response to energy transition. Sustainability, green energy is taking off. How do we address the energy security in the face of this? This is one area that the board is looking at. The board is also looking at even the challenges that face us on this in the sector now. The issue of oil theft has taken a new dimension.
For the representative of Southwest Zone on the NATI board, Taiwo Olashopo, and other members and partners of the board, the retreat will propel them to ensure the agenda of accountability and reforms in the extractive sector, as directed by Mr. President.
EITI is the international body that brings government, corporate organizations, and civil society together, and shows how they can better manage the natural resources of the existing natural resources of a nation. I think that's what I've learned to take away with. And coming back home, I'll be able to show what we have learned to my state, Lagos State, as well as all the other states in the Southwest Zone that I'm representing on this board.
Thank God this board has the SGF as the chairman of the board. It's very easy for us to drive reforms in the sector that will make sure that operators in the mining industry space operate in a way that will make them to contribute meaningfully and transparently to the national economy.
It's dynamic and situations are also dynamic, so new things are coming up. For example, the legislation that established NATI demands that we look at it and it is reviewed so that certain components of it will now be made to be in tune with the realities of what is happening in the oil, gas, and mining sectors.
NATI can only do as much. We need to see more from the side of, the government, at the highest level. We need to see more from them. When laws are passed, enacted, and those that are supposed to implement those laws are not carrying out, like you said, the implementation, then someone who is responsible for ensuring that those actions and the guidelines are followed need to ask, they need to show up.
At the end of the 5-day retreat, the goal from the board is to have a comprehensive report that will be submitted to the presidency.
On business news tonight, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has cut its forecast for Nigeria's economic growth in 2024 to 3.1%. The IMF cited a weaker growth recorded in the first quarter of the year as reason for the new forecast. The downgrade followed weaker than expected gross domestic product (GDP) and growth recorded by the country in Q1 2023. For the global economy, the IMF retained its growth forecast of 3.2% in 2024 and 3.3% in 2025. The IMF says the global economy in a sticky spot global growth is projected to be in line with the April 2024 World Economic Outlook forecast at 3.2% in 2024 and 3.3% in 2025. The service price inflation is holding up progress on disinflation, which is complicating monetary policy normalization. The development comes on the heels of Nigeria's inflation figure reaching a new high, hitting 34.19% for June 2024. That's according to the latest data from the NBS.
Dolphins Basketball Club shocked defending champions MFM Queens Basketball Club in the finals of the Dr. Daniel and Dr. Mrs. Shadi Olukoya Women Basketball Championship held at the Indoor Sports Hall of the National Stadium, Surulere. The one-day invitational championship, contested by 6 Lagos-based teams including Warriors Amazons, Max Spencer's Queens, Tap Queens and Raptors Angels, in the dramatic showdown between Dolphins and the holders, MFM Queens, who also doubles as National Women Basketball League champions. The former surprisingly upset the host team 53-37 in the championship game.
We don't feel good, we don't feel happy. This wasn't the plan. The plan was to come in, enjoy ourselves and then win. Go back home with the trophies, all the trophies. But, you know, you win some and you lose some.
I think we put in the work that we're supposed to put in. Like, we have been working so hard for this. So let me just say, we didn't give up. We kept going. And with God, like, firstly, God did this. God did this for us.
Dolphins carted home a gold-plated trophy and $500,000 naira, while MFM settled for the 250,000 naira cash prize. This victory is a testament to the hard work put into training by Coach Peter Akindele and the management of the Dolphins to ensure efficient team performance ahead of the National Women's League, which commences soon.
Words are not enough to express how I'm feeling right now. It means like a whole lot. And I'm very sure that our coach will be so happy. Like, our coach has been doing a lot, making a lot of effort to make this work. Like, I shout out to our coach, Coach Peter. We are all happy, like we did it together, like in one love and with God.
So we've been trying this to happen and they always escaped it. So it's a good team and I know they are still the best, but we try to fight them. And because the girls are ready to fight, they're ready to play and they're ready to fight.
For the individual awards, Nwado Okigbo was voted the most valuable player. The Dolphin player also scooped Best Assist Player award. Wando Hembe of the MFM Queens was adjudged the best shooter. Antonia Ejiro emerged the 6th man. Jane Iriele was the best rebounder, and defensive player went to Marvelous Charles. As the countdown to the biggest clash between African champion Enoch Nwale and the West African title holder Timile Ndoko winds down, players' representatives on the board of the Nigeria Scrabble Federation, Segun Durojaye, has described the ultimate Scrabble showdown as a positive influence on the game. Both champions will face off in battle for superiority from Friday, July 19 to Sunday 21 in a showdown of over 21 rounds of game at Lekki for the bragging rights as the winner of the maiden tournament. Durojaye stated that the competition is a positive addition to Scrabble in the continent as it will help players' engagement, especially with the younger talent getting into the fold.
It is a positive thing that Nigeria is throwing up such a high-powered, high-stake event as this. It is a positive in all ramification of it because these are arguably the best emerging players in the circuit.
A top cash prize of 300,000 naira will go to the winner, while the other contender will receive 200,000 naira. Durojaye expressed gratitude to the initiator, Olatunde Oduwole, for finding resources to bring the ultimate Scrabble showdown into reality.
Brain behind this event, Mr. Tunde Oduwole, is a former player based in Nigeria who is giving back to the game. That, for me, is the real win in all of this. As a matter of necessity and as a matter of compulsion, look back and find a way to say thank you, to plow back, to see that the game does not die when they leave, to see that there is an incoming generation of players who will take over.
Nwali established his dominance on the continent in October 2022 at the African Championship in Zambia and has won the Emmanuel Egbele Annual Scrabble Tournament, Lekki Classics, and most recently renewed his status with a national title at the Scrabble Festival held in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State in April. On his side, Doko remains the highest-ranked Nigerian in the Pan-African Scrabble Association rankings. He was the runner-up at the 2023 MGI Scrabble Grand Slam before he claimed the West African title in Lagos.
On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden has renewed a call for Congress to ban assault rifles, including the model that was used in the failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. His demand came as he returned to the campaign trail for the first time since the attack. Recall that Donald Trump's ear was grazed by a bullet after a gunman shot at him from a nearby rooftop during a campaign rally. Now, gun rights are an issue Biden has frequently campaigned on. In 1994, he was instrumental in passing an assault weapons ban, which expired in 2004. He referenced that legislation during his speech. In 2022, during his first term as president, Biden signed into law the most significant gun safety legislation in more than 2 decades, which included enhanced background checks for gun buyers and other protections. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast.